Talk. I'm up here at Budo, Canada. I'm with Janine Mocaiber, the JJIF World Jiu-Jitsu Champion at 62 kilograms. So Janine, you just came off a huge tournament where you beat a tough black belt in gi. You're now competing for the gi, the no-gi Worlds, December 15th. Talk about what your training's like going into that, and kind of where your focus is after coming off such a big high and such a big win.
Well, my last one was amazing. It was against one of the best female black belts in the world right now in IBJJF, and it was an honor to even fight her at all because I'm a purple belt right now. So that shouldn't happen. We shouldn't be able to match up, but luckily for me in this federation, I got an opportunity to do that. My training has definitely changed coming off of that. Coming back from Sweden, I had to taper my training for the week so I didn't get sick coming off my flights. I had to make sure that I was rested enough so I could keep going hard. So this week, my focus has been more on no-gi and wrestling than anything. Beyond all, I think wrestling really helps create more grit in your training. You need to have heart to finish the last, 10 seconds of your match. And if you don't have heart, then that's when the match is over, right? Last 10 seconds. Lots of people sub people in that last 10 seconds, you know? So that's very important. But definitely upping my no-gi game in the last few weeks.
Well, I know you're tough. As many people know, this is actually the wife of Janine Mocaiber, my professor, one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world, not only in Canada. This tournament you're going to be going against only purple belts. After coming off such a big match like that, what is your focus on trying to, not necessarily stay humble, but, remind yourself that there's girls just like you, even though they're purple belts, they're out for blood. Now, you kind of have a target on your back because you're that girl coming in who just came off a world championship. What are you doing mentally to kind of make sure you remind yourself that, hey, just like that girl might have taken you serious, there's a lot of girls who, you don't know what they're really built and they might be better than a profile. Like, where are you at mentally with that?
Well, one of the biggest things I've been doing to help with my mentality going into it, I train every Friday with Farshad. He's not only a great wrestling coach, but he's my strength and conditioning coach primarily. And every time I go in, he makes sure I focus on myself. I make sure I focus on exactly what I need to do to get done. And he's bringing me up every week, checking in on what my training's like, how my body's feeling. He's making sure the focus stays on me rather than anybody else.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I see people doing, and some people get some relief from it, they look up their bracket before they go and fight somebody. Then they Google or they YouTube everybody, and then they see their highlight reel and they say, oh shit, this guy's gonna flying armbar me.
That's a big thing in wrestling.
And then, why? Your game is the most important one. As soon as you start worrying about somebody else's game, that's when they play it on you.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of this foot lock. Oh, there's my foot. Just take it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a dog with a bone, right?
Yeah. So I've noticed you've been training also at Toronto Top 2 with Ainsley. I know you've been doing wrestling with him and Igor. Even though you're female, anybody who's never rolled with her, don't be fooled. She's more than capable of training with killers like Ainsley, Igor. I've had much trouble roll with you. What's it been like getting that personal attention from such high-level guys, both as a jiu-jitsu black belt and an Olympian wrestler?
Man, having Igor at home every night is very humbling. Tells me to shut up about jiu-jitsu a lot because that's all we do all day. But it's also very humbling because when I roll with him, I'll put my foot out and then he holds me from anywhere.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel like I know nothing.
Yeah.
So it's nice to not be the best person in the room. With Ainsley, when I go to wrestle with Ainsley, he can see what is causing me difficulty. So he'll tell me like small things. Last night, he went from making my practice frustrating to making my practice really efficient. And it was just a matter of like, okay, he goes, I see everything coming.
Yeah.
Like, let's do this instead. And then takedowns from everywhere. It was awesome.
And so are you competing at 62 kilograms again at this tournament?
So the weight classes are a little bit different in IBJJF. So they go by pounds, and we label them as like lightweight, middleweight, medium heavy. My plan is to fight at middleweight. Middleweight goes up to 145. Lightweight goes down to, I think it's 136 or 135. The problem is that morning of weigh-ins, I think they're a lot harder to make a lighter weight like that. And for me, it's very hard for me to make 136 from the beginning. So night before weigh-in, 62, no problem. But
well, I can attest that even though I know you're not roughly as high as 145, you're one of the strongest female and really just pound for pound athletes in this weight class around that time. After this tournament, let's say you win it all, what is your goal after that? I know you have Euros in January. Are you planning on staying at the same weight class? Have you ever thought about going up to challenging yourself? Because obviously you're doing very well every tournament you do.
So it's funny that you say that, because actually my first year at Worlds I competed as a middleweight. My first year at Euros I competed as middle heavy. My second year at Worlds I competed at middle heavy. I fought Meggie Grandaddy in the quarterfinals and lost 0-0 reps decision. She won blue belt worlds double gold. She won purple belt worlds this year, and man, like, was an honor to get to fight her as well. She's Cyborg's girlfriend. Awesome athlete. Very, very nice girl. And man, would be an honor to fight her again one day. Somehow I managed to cut down to lightweight for this year's Worlds. And to be honest, I think my body actually is that weight. It's just, well, one, I was lifting a lot heavier back then and more often, and two, I liked pizza and donuts a lot more back then too, right? So, so I signed up at any weight category. I feel like this summer I competed in New York and I did medium heavy there for the New York Pro. And when I went to Vegas, I fought middle. I just didn't feel like making the extra 2-pound cut to get to light. I think I'd like to stay at lightweight. I think it's a good weight category for me. It's a very technical jiu-jitsu. So I feel at middleweight, it changes and it's a little bit more of like a stalling. Who pulls guard first? Everybody stays on their feet quite a bit. It changes as you get higher in levels, but I definitely see the technical side come out more in the lightweight.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that you had a fitness background before this. You're a beast in terms of lifting. And I have noticed that you decided to kind of taper down the lifting, leaned out. What was the decision behind that? Because obviously powerlifting helps you with grappling, wrestling, but was there any specific reason you kind of stepped back from doing that so much? Was it a conditioning thing? Was it the wear and tear? Because that's a big conversation for not only wrestlers, MMA fighters, and jiu-jitsu is how much lifting you should do. You know, everyone's trying to figure it out, and obviously your body type makes a difference. What has been the decision for you to kind of taper back a little bit on the heavy lifting?
Well, it first began with, I was making middleweight. I had to cut there. I was walking around at like 156, and I'm only 5'2", so that's pretty big for me.
Yeah.
I was pretty jacked considering. So, and not fat at that weight, just big. So I would cut my weightlifting down like 2 weeks before I would fight. And then I realized, like, every time there's a tournament, which could be once a month, I'm only lifting for 2 weeks out of the whole month. And then it was like, okay, so I'm never consistent enough to actually get good lifting. So I need to make a decision here. So I made the decision to drop down to 3 times a week training. I made that decision because first I cut out all my jiu-jitsu altogether. I cut out all my lifting altogether. And then I started getting injured.
Yeah.
Imbalances, like I started tearing like parts of my rotator cuff. I started getting like a shitty posture.
The jiu-jitsu posture,
yeah. My knees were achy. I lost my butt. I was looking in the mirror one day. I said, where'd it go? So I decided to keep lifting, 1, to keep my physique like looking good and looking athletic, and 2, injury prevention, and 3, because it really benefits jiu-jitsu. I need to be explosive. I need to be powerful. And training is another tool to add to your toolbox.
Yeah.
Just not excessively like I was before. It was stiff. I fought like a medium heavy when I was walking around at medium heavy. And now I feel like a lightweight when I'm training like one.
Yeah, well, I can say the first time I rolled you, you were definitely bigger, but your movement wasn't as good. Recently, since I've rolled you, I can tell a difference. You seem to be much stronger in certain positions, even though you're lighter. Your movement is amazing. So, you know, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Guys, definitely support Janine. If you guys get a chance to check out any of these matches or get to go to any of them, definitely do that. Also be on the lookout. We're going to be doing a series with her and her husband, Janine Mocaiber, not only about training, but just overall the life of what it's like to be married to a Jiu-Jitsu world champion who's also married to another Jiu-Jitsu world champion. So just support Janine as much as you can. She's one of the best female athletes in the country and the world, obviously, now. So just congrats on everything you've been doing. Looking forward to hearing you compete.
Of course.